Hi, today I'm going to show you how to pattern cut a cowl neck collar. A cowl neck collar is normally used on a top or a dress, predominantly in women's wear, but also you get it in some jersey menswear. It's basically a draped neck which is created by adding volume towards the collar, starting either from your waist, as I have done, you can see, or from just your bustard. At the same time, you also get rid of your bustard to create a nice line. Cowl neck is quite often used in jersey, cut and sew, or in the fine knitwear, which both drape really nicely, or in woven fabrics you would quite often use a really nice drapey silk or very fine, nice wool. Calico doesn't look great, it's more sculpture than calico, but you can see the effect. So as you can see, what you do is basically add a volume in the shape of a triangle to nothing at the waist. If you add the volume just from the bustard, which you can do by converting your dart into volume, you get a smaller, more controlled neckline. So you can do that. Or by adding it straight from the waist, you get a more drapey neckline. Okay. So there's two ways of doing your cowl neck. You can either drape it on a stand by just cutting out your front basic bodice, go without darts, or if you have darts you stitch up your bustards, you pin it on, and when you pin on a second piece of fabric on one side, create your drape and then pin it along the bottom and along the other side. When you take it off, you lay it flat by cutting into your old neck, and then you mark all your changes on your flat pattern cutting on your paper. What I'm going to do, I'll show you how to flat cut it, which is never as precise as draping it, because you always have to, it's not guesswork, but you're making something 3D from something 2D. So however you think it looks in 2D, when you put it in something soft as fabric, the drape, how it lays on the body in the 3D is going to change things. But what you can do quickly, just to find out how much of a drape you want, is either on a basic bodice or even just on a mannequin itself, is you pin it on a piece of fabric where the high point is, which is basically the point where your front and back neck meet. That's called the high shoulder point. So you pin it on one side of there, and then you do the same on your other side. So if you want a neckline which is more boat neck and drape, you would have to change your collar before making this, but I'm just working from a normal collar, so it's quite a nice tight look at the sides, which then drapes at the front. So if you roughly want to create this much volume, okay, so it's quite nice. So I then mark my high shoulder points on both sides. And then I measure the mark distance on my calico, which in my case is 50 centimeters. So I'm going to write it down to my feet. I want a final neckline of 50 centimeters. So, as usual, you start with your basic front bodice start. If you're working in jersey, you just use one without darts. But I'm going to show you how to convert your bustard at the same time. I've already shown you in a different tutorial how to change your bustard and how to add volume at the bottom of the top to create an A-line, a circle style. So if you want to have basically the opposite of this, check it out how to do it. But as usual, you start by drawing around your pattern. Make sure you also mark your bust point and your bust darts and your armhole darts on your pattern block. Put your center front in. So next I'm going to draw in my volume lines, basically the lines where I'm going to add the volume. I like to add volume in at least 2 or 3 places to spread it out. If you add it in one place, it's sort of going to distort the pattern because it's all concentration on one part of the pattern where the rest stays quite fitted. So one of my volume lines is going to be parallel to the center front. Okay, so that's my first volume line, and my second line is going to go from my bust point towards the high shoulder point. Okay, I'm also going to draw in my bust dart. So now you're ready for the messy part. I need to now cut and slash along with 2 volume lines to create the volume I need. Before I do it, I'm really going to work out how much volume I need to add. I know from experience this is 12 centimeters on the half neck. So my whole neck at the moment is 24. So I need to add another 26 centimeters of volume, which on the half neck is 13. So in each of them I need to roughly add 6.5. So now I cut out my top. Okay, I'm first going to cut into my bust dart line. Get another piece of paper and tape it to your one side of a line, the line nearer to the armhole. Then I need to shut my bust dart because I don't know if I need it. And the whole point is that I'm getting rid of a seam here and I'm creating volume at the front. You can see at the moment it's shut, and as soon as I close this dart, I create volume. So I want roughly 6.5. If I draw across here, it's actually 8. So it's more than I need, so I'm going to make this 1.5 smaller, so I'm going to make this 5. And again, I'm going to cut into the line. And try to keep your pattern joined at the waistline by just about like a millimeter or something, because that way you can sort of move it around. So. And again, I'm gonna tape another piece of paper to one side of my volume line, and then I'm going to measure 5 centimeters. I'm going to measure 5 centimeters. And then I'm going to join up my other piece to that. So now you're nearly done. the last thing you need to do, can you see at the moment you now added your volume, but your neck is just a weird zigzag line. And what we want is a nice straight line, so it's going to drape nicely. On the bias it might even become a fold line, which then adds a triangle shaped facing because you just fold it. But it needs to be at a right angle here, because otherwise you get a kink, so you get a weird cutout. You want this to be looking completely straight, so if it drapes around it always looks like a beautiful collar. So what we need to have is basically a right angle at your center front. So if I go out at a right angle from my original center front, can you see I end up being somewhere in my shoulder. So what you need to do is extend your center front, and then staying on right angles on your center front, you move up and down until you find your high shoulder point. Okay. When you draw in your new line, which is nice and straight, the last thing you need to do is add seam allowance everywhere. Make sure this is a fold, and then make it up in some fabric. And if you're going to use a nice silk for your finer fabric, you might want to make a quick trowel out of a cheap lining fabric, because cotton, calico, is not going to give you the drape you want in a silk. But try it out and enjoy making you. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.